3 past 8 o'clock. Good morning again. Masters MTR. Hope you're doing good and hope you're having some breakfast wherever you are if you woke up quite early. And for those that are already at your workplace, well in. Have a good one as you start your day. Well, our conversations today in the coffee court will be entirely on Uganda's inflation, which is actually already at 7.9%. According to statistics. Later on, we shall be reviewing it by the end of August to see whether it has increased or decreased. However, with the latest statistics or reviewed by the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is that we are at 7.9%. The worry is for the Bank of Uganda and U-boats is that we do not hit 10%. Countries like the United Kingdom already hit 18%. That is the very first time they hit such a huge percentage in 50 years. Our discussion here is, how can we live with this inflation? How can we survive with this inflation? Monica Nabyonga takes you through these particular conversations of the Coffee Court. Good morning.
Welcome to the Coffee Court. Good evening to you, our viewer. This is Smart 24 TV. My name is Monica Nabyonga, and today I'm having His Excellency Stephen Kaboyo Mpuuga. How do these words connect? Stephen Kaboyo, then Mpuuga. Mpuuga is the Uganda name, right?
Not really. That is a real Motoro name.
Mpuuga?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
So, since we have the other Matthias, I thought Mpuuga is a Uganda name.
I think he borrowed it from us.
Oh.
Must have borrowed it from us.
Yes, he's a strategist for over 25 years in the financial sector. He is a honorary consul in the Czech Republic. He is the managing director, founder actually, and managing director of Alpha Capitals. Please say hi to our viewer.
Hello, viewers. How are you doing? I hope you are weathering the storm amidst all financial and economic challenges. But let's remain hopeful that we'll come out of these economic challenges where oil prices, fuel prices, food prices are making it very hard for all of us to live, survive.
A lot of titles. I've just mentioned actually 3. Are those the only ones that you're having?
Well, there are many others that I have. I multitask in many other sectors where I sit on boards and directorship on other corporate institutions. I used to sit on the Capital Markets Authority board a number of years ago, but I sit on insurance board, Uganda Re Insurance. I also chair the Total Uganda Advisory Board. So I have my legs and hands in many things.
Okay, we know that you're very much informed in the inflation. When it comes to inflation, you can expound it and someone out there is like, wow, I've got to understand.
Great, thank you very much. Inflation in simple terms really is upward pressure, price pressure on goods and services. And that is really the simplest I can put it. I don't want to get into too much English. So really inflation is when there's a lot of money pushing or chasing very few goods and services. Now that puts upward pressure on commodities, prices of goods and services. So that's the phenomenon, really, to understand it in simpler terms.
Okay, in July, we saw that the Ugandan inflation actually accelerated to 7.9% from 6.8% as it was the previous month of June.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Inflation has been accelerating for the last 6 consecutive months.
But this was the highest actually ever since December 2015.
Yes, let's put it into perspective. 6 months we started seeing upward pressure on prices in the economy. Now it accelerated more a couple months ago. But as you know, this data also, or the effect comes with a lag. So what we have seen in the last 6 months or so is one was opening up of the economy at the end of the year, beginning of the year. That means economic activity started picking up. Come February, the Ukraine war came on. Ukraine-Russia war. So as the economy was recovering, this disruption came about. But also keep in mind that what COVID did was to disrupt supply chains. As far as imports are concerned, movement of goods and services globally was disrupted. Now that disruption caused delays, caused price pressures. Actually, that is one of the reasons, fundamentally, that has caused a spike in prices. Supply chain disruption. Now, coupled with oil prices, as economies of the world opened up, there was demand. Demand rebounded for oil. Now that, when there's too much demand and stock is not as adequate, you'll see oil prices on oil going up. We tested $110 per barrel first, second quarter of the year. Although it has sort of cooled off, but still high. It's around, hovering around, just under 100. Now that price pressure on oil has affected our fuel prices, as you can see. This is the record high we have seen on our pump prices in Uganda. And as you know, fuel is an ingredient in almost everything that we do here. Now, when oil prices, fuel prices at the pump go up, food prices automatically go up because there is transportation costs. Now that feeds into higher food prices, and thereby inflation start edging up. So those are the two reasons. But the third one, when your shilling or your currency starts depreciating, then you start getting problems on inflation, because now there is also what we would call imported inflation, because prices globally are high. You import, the imports become expensive, yeah, because of the implication on your currency. Then that also translates into inflation through the import side. So those really are the main factors that have been driving inflation since the beginning of the year. And in response, we have seen the central bank tightening monetary policy. Yeah. That's the response that one would expect. Primary response is basically tighten monetary policy so that you starve credit, although it has its implications in terms of a struggling economy. Then you constrain credit. Does it make sense? But that's the only way you can fight inflation. The second one is probably on the fiscal side, because monetary policy and fiscal side have to work together if you're going to fight inflation effectively. So cutting expenditure of government. As a country, a whole, or? As a country. So there has to be, if that is going to be sustainable, or you have to make an impact, fiscal and monetary policy have to work together. On the fiscal side, you have to cut expenditure. On the monetary side, manage liquidity, tighten financial conditions so that there is not much money going around and inflation can be contained. So that's how governments fight inflation. But this is a challenge that we're going to live with going forward, because you have seen the pump prices have sort of stabilized, but still high. Still high. They have not come down greatly. That will still be an issue for us going forward, coupled with a weak currency, which we have now. Last week, Uganda shilling tested almost 3,900. That's a level we have not seen in many, many years. And it's not about relent, because of the global exogenous factors that are not necessarily in our control. as US, with its global influence, raises interest rates, you'll see currencies like Uganda shilling, Kenyan shilling, all going under. Yes. So that's something that we're going to live with for the last part, the remaining part of the year.
Why are currency markets generally, should I say, they are volatile in nature?
Not really, but this particular period of time is because globally there is this surge of inflation everywhere. In the US, you must have seen until yesterday when the new data came through, US inflation had hit 9.1. It has now edged down to about 8 point something, which is a sort of relief, because also in the US, inflation had never gone to those levels. Now, in order for the US to fight inflation, they're also tightening. The US Federal Reserve Bank, which is the central bank of the US, is hiking interest rates to fight inflation. Same in Europe, same in the UK, same everywhere. So this is a global issue. It's not unique to us. It's a challenge. There are even fears that recession could come about in the US sooner or later, and that has far-reaching implications. So as the US continues raising rates, the effects are felt deeply here in our local shilling market. So that's the volatility that comes along with things that are happening on the global scene that we do not have control over as a country.
So looking at Uganda as a country, how can we fight this? How can we fight the inflation rate?
Fighting inflation goes back to the two primary responses that I've explained. One is tightening monetary policy. Two, managing government expenditure. But let me introduce the third one. Third one is on the supply side. As a country, we have been importing quite a bit. We're a net importer. But the importation of things that we bring in the country, some are low value imports. Clearly, you're spending dollars to bring those low value products that you can actually produce locally here. So in the long term, and this is a long-term solution, is one, you need to enhance your value addition in the products that you produce so that your exports are competitive. But again, you're substituting low-value imports by the local production. So you enhance local production. That, in essence, mitigates.
But is it possible?
It is possible in the long run, as long as you have a proper strategy. And I think government is working towards that. Now, if that happens, one, you gain by stabilizing your currency, and you are really minimizing the imported inflation that comes
But how are we
along.
going to stabilize our currency if at all, even right now, when you look at these buildings in Kampala, they are charging them in dollars. When you look at taxes, they are taxing us in dollars.
That is another matter. I can try to explain that as well. Now, dollarizing the economy is a different aspect. Now, that is in a liberal environment. Anybody is free to do whatever they want. You can charge dollars, you can charge shillings, but for me, from a purely markets point of view, it is very dangerous. Because today, if you're paying rent in dollars, compared to a year ago, you'd require more shillings to buy dollars to be able to.
Of course, because when you look like 2 months back, a dollar was like 3,600. But now, as we talk, it's going to 4,000.
So, yes, so that's a big issue, and that's a policy issue. But again, like I said, it is a result of opening up, liberalizing the economy, which comes with that whole issue. Two is it's also dangerous in the sense that if you do not have cash flow in shillings, you'll have a big challenge. If you borrowed in dollars today, because banks give dollar loans.
Yes.
But if you are, and you see, when you produce as a farm, As a company here, you say you are in plastics, you sell your plastics in shillings. You don't sell them in dollars. So that mismatch causes a huge, huge challenge. So as we go along, as we go forward, because when you go through turbulent times like this, you pick lessons. So that's one lesson going forward, that somebody has to be able to avoid taking on debt obligation, dollar obligations, because you do not match it with cash flows in shillings. So that poses a big challenge.
Okay. Talking about your other duty of the honorary consul to Czech Republic,
Yep.
Ambassador, what are you doing to see that at least even the Ugandan business community suits the Czech Republican business community?
Let me first give you a background on what the Czech economy, the Czech market looks like. Czech Republic economy is a very highly industrialized economy. Actually, the industrial sector accounts for about 40% of GDP. That's in Czech. 40% is industrial sector. So they are heavy on manufacturing, automobiles, aviation, planes. They do agriculture machinery, they do defense systems, they are big in IT, they are big in fintechs and financial services. So it's a highly industrialized economy and very diversified. The GDP of the Czech economy is in excess of 250 billion, which is huge. Czech Republic is an EU country, member of the European Union, and this is the center of Europe, connected, easily connected and accessible. Now, the capacity to produce and manufacture. Maybe I should let me move on to the imports. What do they need? Yes. What does the Czech Republic need from a country like Uganda? One is coffee, and I can tell you that coffee, Ugandan coffee today, while it's not formally, the business is not formally arranged, it has piqued a lot of interest in Czech Republic. Ugandan coffee. You'll go on the shelves and people just buy Ugandan coffee because of the flavor, because of the quality, but it's on a small scale. Now, Czech imports tea, spices, other raw materials, textiles, cotton, because they have a lot of fabric manufacturing as well, production. So they demand a lot of things from us. However, when you look at the data, numbers, imports against exports, it's really skewed. Let me give you the data for 2020. Czech Republic exported about $30 million worth of goods and services to Uganda. Uganda exported to Czech just under $2 million. So you can see the difference.
But it was a COVID year. 2020 was a COVID year.
Well, even before COVID year, because I'm just speaking 2020 because that's the latest data I have. But there is a trade imbalance. That trade balance needs to be improved. We are taking more of their products than they are taking from us. How can we improve that? It is through building synergies. Like my job, first of all, is to facilitate these engagements. Introduce as many Ugandan companies to Czech, as well as Czech companies here, in what we call economic diplomacy. So my job is well cut out for me. It's an opportunity as well as a challenge.
By the way, before we go there, for how long have you been there, Honorary Consul?
2 years today, officially. But before that, unofficially, 1 year. But what I can tell you, that opportunities are great. I'll give you example where Uganda can benefit. Czech is huge in agriculture and tourism. Now, in agriculture sector, Czech produces the best world-renowned agriculture machinery, both for small scale and large scale. These are tractors. And actually, one of the things that I'm currently working on is to establish an agency of a Czech manufacturing group to bring tractors here and sell them in the local market through an agency relationship. So we're trying to create a dealership because they are reasonably priced, durable, much more durable than what we get from the East. As you know, our machinery comes from China and elsewhere. So European standards are quite different. So we're working on that one. The second one is tourism. Czech is one of the beautiful countries in Europe. But when also the Czech people come here, they fall in love with Uganda. So we have seen, in my time as a consul, we've seen a very high demand for Czech people coming to visit Uganda. We had 20 people going to Windy a couple months ago. That demand, and when
His Excellency, you're coming from the tourist city of Fort Portal.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm selling Fort Portal like a hot cake, because when the Czechs come here, they find the weather very convenient, they find the food very fresh, and the hospitality. Ugandan people are quite good people. Security is guaranteed. So we have seen a very huge increase in terms of Czech people coming to visit. But on the other side as well, we get so many inquiries of Ugandans who want to go, first of all, to visit, see what Czech offers, and we are facilitating them through visa issuance for them to go and visit. It's amazing. In a week, we get 10, 15 inquiries for Ugandans trying to go. And we hope that can sustain and we keep it up. So Czech is open for business. Czech has opportunities. And there are so many cross-cutting interests that we have that we can build on, leverage on, and create win-win situations. So my job now, my current assignment that I want to execute is to arrange a Czech-Uganda Trade and Investment Summit here in Uganda in the coming months. We are yet to zero in on the date, but so many, at least close to 25 big companies in Czech have expressed interest to come and participate.
What about our own Uganda?
We want to mobilize our own through private sector foundation, Uganda Manufacturers Association, so that we can hook them up and perhaps come up with joint ventures, collaboration arrangement, partnerships, and see. Because really, Czech, even the whole idea of setting up this consulate was to promote trade and investment. Now, let me also talk about two other areas which are also very interesting. One is education. They have the best universities in Europe.
But
So
I think they're expensive.
one of the things that we're trying to do is maybe two things that we're trying to do. One is create alliances and sort of twinning with our local universities here, Czech universities and Uganda universities. Through that approach, we will be able to attract perhaps scholarships for Ugandans who want to go and study. They have the best medical schools, they have the best engineering schools in Europe. So that is also my dream, that at some day I'll see 10 Ugandan engineers trained from the Czech Republic, 15 doctors trained from the US. And through this scheme of assisting through affordable education. That's another task that I am dealing with. The other one is Czech also has the best medical facilities. Czech is literally 8 hours away. You find people, Ugandans going to India. Czech is very close here. So we want to promote partnerships in the health sector so that Czech technology can be transferred here. Through that, we can be able to build these synergies and promote them so that we have good collaboration between the two countries.
All right, Honorable, you're very busy. You, according to your schedule, you seem to be a very busy man, because you have that ambassadorial task. Then you're the managing director, Alpha Capital. A lot of titles, a lot of responsibilities. When do you get your free time?
For me, I work hard. I also play hard. I make sure that every day I commit time. One is to myself through prayer. In the morning when I get up, pay my respect and make my prayers known to the Almighty. I get to work. I'm a very early riser. 5 o'clock, I shut down. 5 in the evening, I shut down. I go to the gym. I do my 1 hour, an hour and a half, just to let my hair down and take the pressure off for the day. That gives me good sanity levels and keeps me going. Then I create time that at least 7, 8 o'clock, I'm at home with my family. Half of my family lives abroad. The children are abroad, but I make sure that I'm at home and I can have dinner with my wife and be a normal person, family person. So through that, I keep my head sane and I do what I have to do.
Okay. Yeah. All right, thank you very much for hosting us.
Yeah.
You've been such a nice viewer of Coffee Call tonight. My name is Monica Nabio.
And that brings us to the end of the Coffee Court discussion. But after the break, I'm getting back with my guests here as we discuss our topic of discussion. The other was the Coffee Court regarding inflation in the country, but now we're going to be looking at more of our topic of discussion this morning. Stick around, I'll be right back.